The donkey stopped for the third time. Balaam exploded in fury. He raised his staff and struck it hard. 1, 2, 3 times. The sound echoed through the empty valley. And then the donkey turned its head and he spoke. "What did I do to deserve being hit 3 times?" The world stopped, and Balaam, a prophet of God, answered the animal as if it were normal. He didn't even realize the absurdity, because he was completely blind. But 3 meters away from him, invisible to his eyes, was an angel with a drawn sword, ready to kill him. And the donkey saw everything. She was trying to save him. That is why God made her speak. How could a prophet have gone so far that he needed to be rebuked by an animal? This is the donkey. God made her speak, because the prophet did not listen. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. And he comments, "I am listening, Lord. Stay until the end." There's a truth here that could change everything. Messengers arrived at Balaam's door. Important men, gold, silver, promises of wealth. They came from Balak, king of Moab, with a request to curse Israel. Balak was terrified. He had seen Israel destroy entire nations. Now they were on his border, and he knew that Balaam had power with God. Balaam asked them to wait. He said he would consult God. But here's the problem. He already knew the answer. Israel was the chosen people. How could he curse those whom God had blessed? But he asked anyway, looking for a loophole, permission, a maybe. God spoke that night. "Don't go. Don't curse these people, for they are blessed." Clear, straightforward, no room for negotiation. When God says no, it's over. But for those with divided hearts, this was just the first round. When God speaks and man does not listen, destruction has already been chosen. Balaam woke up knowing what to do. But when he saw the gifts, the respect in the messenger's eyes, something changed. The sun rose over the desert, red and gold. The light flooded his house. The messengers gathered their belongings in silence, disappointed, and Balaam felt a tightness in his chest, guilt or repressed desire. He said, "Go back, God refused to let me go." Technically true, spiritually manipulated, because he didn't say that God forbade cursing Israel, only that he couldn't go at that moment. Balak didn't give up. He sent more important people, bigger offerings, and Balaam went further. "Even if you gave me all the gold in the palace, I cannot disobey God." Beautiful words. But stay tonight. I'll see if God has anything else to say. Wait, God has already spoken. He has already made it clear. But Balaam consulted again, seeking the answer he wanted to hear. When you keep asking God about something he has already answered, you are not seeking guidance. You are seeking permission to disobey. God said, "Go, but do only what I tell you." Permission? Or God loosening the rope of someone who decided to hang themselves? But God was angry because Balaam was going. Balaam had permission. He didn't have a blessing, and there's a deadly difference between those things. Balaam set out the next morning. His heart was racing. Everything seemed perfect. The sun was shining. The path was clear. But something was wrong. He had permission, but his heart was out of sync. He wasn't going to obey. He was going to see if he could please Balak without completely disobeying God. And how many of us do this? We think that because God didn't physically stop us, then he approved. Because the door opened, we're on the right track. But sometimes God allows it, to teach through the consequences. Balaam rode confidently. He spoke with the princes. He imagined the reception at the palace, the recognition, the money. Everything seemed possible, but God was not approving. He was watching, and the further Balaam advanced, the further he distanced himself from divine protection. When you are spiritually blind, you don't see the signs. You don't sense the danger until it's too late. The road was narrow, a stone wall on one side. He came from the other, and right in the middle, the angel of the Lord appeared. Physical, real, sword drawn, blocking the path. The blade gleamed in the sun. He wasn't there to deliver a message. He was there to execute. Balaam saw nothing. His eyes were open. His spiritual vision was extinguished. He kept walking oblivious to death inches away. But the donkey saw. That animal without a voice, without theology, she saw what the prophet did not see, and she veered off into the field, trying to save not only her own life, but also that of the man she was riding. Balaam hit her, angrily. "Stupid girl, get back on the path." To him, she was just a stubborn animal. He couldn't understand. Hey, if you're feeling something intense right now, leave a like. Subscribe, because what comes next will leave you speechless. The angel did not move. The donkey saw again. The path was narrower now, walls on both sides. She pressed herself against the wall, crushing Balaam's foot. Pain, intense. Balaam exploded. He hit harder. God gave him every chance, every sign, but he didn't see. Spiritual blindness doesn't just affect what you see, it affects how you interpret everything. Third time, the angel completely blocked it. No way out. The donkey felt the weight of the divine presence, the terror of death, and she did the only thing possible. She stopped and lay down. Total surrender, the final act of someone who did everything to protect that ungrateful man. Balaam lost control. Balaam's anger flared up. He went down and began to beat him with his staff. Pure violence. The irony, the universe wasn't against him. God was trying to save him. The donkey was trying to save him. And Balaam was violently beating the only creature who clearly saw spiritual reality. How often do we do this? Do we become furious with those God uses to prevent us from making a fatal mistake? Do we spiritually beat down those who try to warn us? The donkey knew what Balaam didn't. She saw what he didn't see, and she was about to pay the price. But God had other plans. When the human voice fails, he does not remain silent. He chooses another spokesperson. The Lord opened the donkey's mouth. It wasn't imagination. It was God intervening in creation, making a mute animal speak with purpose, with logic, with clarity. What did I do to deserve being hit 3 times? Think about the absurdity. An animal formulates a coherent question in human language. Anyone would fall to their knees. They would recognize, this is supernatural. This is God. But Balaam, he replied, as if it were normal. You're making a fool of me. If I had a sword, I'd kill you right now. He spoke to the donkey, without blinking, without questioning the miracle. And this reveals the terrifying level of blindness that had taken hold of him. So immersed in his own will that not even an obvious miracle could awaken him. The donkey continued, "Am I not your donkey? You have ridden on me all my life. Have I done this before?" Balaam, no. She didn't just talk. She presented a logical, irrefutable argument. She reminded him of years of faithful service. She questioned the injustice. She forced him to acknowledge something was wrong with him, not with her. God used the unlikely, the despised, the mistreated. He gave a voice to those who had none, and the donkey became more of a prophet than the prophet. If God made a donkey speak to confront a blind prophet, what else can he do? Who else can he use? How might he be speaking to you right now? The donkey's voice revealed injustice. What have I done? 3 times she tried to save him. 3 times she was beaten. Balaam had no answer, or rather, you're making a fool of me. He didn't see the truth even then. He thought the donkey was the problem, but he was being humiliated by his own choices. Then God did something even more impactful. Numbers 22:31. The Lord opened Balaam's eyes. He saw. The angel, the sword, imminent death. He understood that every time he struck the donkey, he struck against God's mercy. He fell face down on the ground, the only possible reaction. The angel said, "Why did you strike the donkey 3 times? I have come to oppose you. Your way is perverse. She saw me and turned aside 3 times. If she had not turned aside, I would have killed you and spared her." Read it again. Slowly. Killed you. Spared her. The prophet was going to die. The animal was going to live. Because in God's eyes, the donkey was more aligned with the divine will. The truth was revealed, and it was brutal. Balaam on the ground, trembling, stripped of all pretense. "I made a mistake. I didn't know you were in the way. If that bothers you, I'll come back. But the confession was still tainted. If this displeases you. If God sent an angel with a sword, there was no if. The angel, go with the men, but speak just whatever I say. This instruction was given for the third time, 3 times. Just as God struck the donkey 3 times, he repeated it 3 times, because Balaam was stubborn. And here's the devastating lesson. Seeing a miracle doesn't change a heart. Balaam saw a donkey speak, he saw an angel, he saw a sword, but it didn't automatically transform his nature. He continued his journey. He went to the palace. In the following chapters, he still tried to please the king. God wasn't asking for more sight. He was demanding obedience. Because obedience doesn't come from supernatural experiences. It comes from a broken heart that chooses to align itself with God, even if it costs everything. Balaam witnessed the miracle, but he didn't learn the lesson. Tragedy of a life that knows God, but doesn't surrender. This story isn't just about an animal that spoke. It's about God refusing to remain silent. He could have spoken directly to Balaam, sent another prophet, thunder from heaven, but he chose a donkey, the most unlikely, the most humble, the most despised. Why? Because it was teaching. Your voice is not limited to holy places, religious people, expected experiences. It can speak through a child, a stranger, an irritating circumstance, a person you consider less spiritual. How many times has God used those you despise to give you the words you needed to hear? How many times have you hurt, emotionally, verbally, those who were trying to save you? The donkey had no credentials, no title, no theology, but she had spiritual sensitivity. She saw the angel. She responded to the divine presence. She chose obedience even when unjustly beaten. God honored this. He not only used it, but preserved it. While Balaam headed toward dishonor, the donkey fulfilled its purpose and was spared. This should make us humble, vigilant. If God spoke through a donkey, he may be speaking now through someone you least expect. The question isn't whether God is speaking, it's, are you paying attention? This story is rarely heard from the pulpit. It's often treated as a curiosity, but it contains wisdom that transforms. Spiritual position does not guarantee spiritual sensitivity. Balaam was a prophet. He had access to God, but being close to God and being aligned with him are different things. God respects free will, even when it leads to destruction. He said no. Balaam insisted. God said go. It wasn't approval. It was allowing him to reap the consequences. Obstacles can be a source of mercy. Each stop the donkey made was a sign of salvation. How many times have you been frustrated because something didn't go as planned, without realizing that God was protecting you from disaster? Spiritual blindness normalizes the supernatural. Balaam spoke to the talking donkey as if it were trivial. When blind, even God's miracles seem commonplace, and the most powerful, God can use anything to accomplish his purposes. If he used a donkey, he can use you. It doesn't matter how insignificant you feel. God is looking for willing hearts, not impressive resumes. This story has been preserved for thousands of years because we need it. To remember that he is in control, that he sees what we don't see, that he speaks even when we think there is silence. The question that matters isn't about Balaam, it's about you. How many times have you been like him, the word of God clear, but looking for loopholes, trying to serve God and the world simultaneously, attacking those God used to prevent you from making irreversible mistakes? We've all been Balaam. We've all chosen what we wanted to hear. We've all walked into danger, blind, deaf, convinced we knew what was best. And God keeps sending donkeys, blocking paths, speaking in unexpected ways. Because he loves you too much to let you destroy yourself without a fight, but you still have time to choose. Balaam went ahead. He arrived at the palace. He tried to satisfy his greed without completely disobeying. In the end, he became a symbol of false prophets who love the wages of injustice. You don't have to end up like this. If something within you is being challenged today, a path you shouldn't be taking, a decision you're trying to justify, God's voice you're ignoring because it's inconvenient, stop now. Don't expect to see an angel with a sword. Don't expect God to do something dramatic, because mercy may seem repetitive, but it's not infinite in form. There comes a time when God stops blocking and lets you reap what you have sown. The revelation is, God is speaking. He always has been. The question has never been whether God has something to say. It has always been whether you are willing to listen. The voice of God comes wrapped in unexpected forms. A donkey, an obstacle, someone considered inferior, a door that closes when you thought it should open. Discernment is not about hearing what you want to hear. It's about recognizing God's voice even when it contradicts everything you've planned. Are you listening or just walking? God made a donkey speak. If necessary, he will make stones cry out. He will move heaven and earth. But the choice to stop, surrender, listen is yours. And that choice defines everything. If this impacted you, comment, Lord, I choose to listen to you. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, share with anyone who is walking blindly the revelation I promised. The story of the donkey is not about a miracle of the past, it's about God's mercy today. Even when we fail, when we are stubborn, when we choose our own interests, God doesn't give up. He sends warnings. He blocks our paths. He does the impossible to reach us. But the final decision is yours. Don't let God require extreme methods. Choose to listen now, obey today. Recognize His voice, even from where you least expect it. The question that defines your journey is not, is God speaking? It is, am I listening? May your answer be yes, today, now, always.